Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving into something that's definitely on a lot of people's minds. Net worth.
Yeah.
And how it all connects to economic class.
Right.
Here in the U.S.
Okay.
You guys have sent over this really interesting blog post that kind of breaks down the numbers, and I gotta say, just skimming it,
Yeah.
I was already raising my eyebrows.
Interesting.
Apparently, having $1 million doesn't make you rich everywhere.
That's right. It's all relative.
Really?
The blog does a good job laying out those benchmarks, but I think what we can add today is some context about what those numbers actually mean for someone trying to build a strong financial life.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Okay.
Before we even get to the classes part.
Right.
What exactly are we talking about when we say net worth?
Yeah.
I know it's not just about how much money you make, right?
Exactly. Net worth is more like a financial snapshot. Yeah. It shows the difference between everything you own assets and everything you owe liabilities.
Okay.
So it's not just your salary.
Right.
It's your house, your investments, your retirement savings, minus things like your mortgage or your student loans.
So like the blog uses the example of someone with a $300,000 house.
Yes.
But a $200,000 mortgage.
Right.
They're not a $300,000 person, really.
Nope. Their net worth is only $100,000 in that case.
Gotcha.
And that's why it's such a valuable number to know.
All right.
It tells you more about your overall financial health and stability than just your income ever could.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like you could have a high-paying job, but still be drowning in debt.
Exactly.
So your net worth would reflect that shaky ground.
Precisely. And on the flip side, someone could have a more modest income, but have been diligently investing for years, leading to a surprisingly healthy net worth.
Okay, so net worth is the foundation here.
Yes.
Now, how do we layer in the idea of economic classes?
Right.
The blog breaks it down into lower, middle, and upper. But honestly, those always feel kind of fuzzy to me.
They're broad categories for sure.
Yeah.
And there's a ton of variation within each.
Okay.
But they do give us a framework for understanding how different levels of net worth translate to different life experiences, opportunities, and yes, even challenges.
So let's start with that lower class designation then.
Okay.
The blog puts that below $43,500. What does that actually look like for someone day to day?
Well, here's where the limitations of just looking at income become really clear.
Okay.
Someone could be working.
Right.
But low wages, high debt, or unexpected expenses can make it incredibly tough to build any kind of financial cushion.
Yeah, the blog talks about challenges like access to health care, housing instability, and even food insecurity. It paints a pretty bleak picture, to be honest.
Unfortunately, that's the reality for many in this category.
Yeah.
They're often one emergency away from a financial crisis, and it becomes incredibly difficult to break that cycle.
Right. Moving up the ladder, we've got the middle class, which the blog defines as having a net worth between $43,500 and $1,200,000. That's a huge EE range.
It is, and that's why we need to be careful about lumping everyone in there together.
Okay.
A young adult just starting out with some student debt is middle class.
Right.
But so is a couple nearing retirement who've paid off their house and have a fat 401k.
Yeah.
Their lives are wildly different.
Right.
Yeah.
The blog gives an example of a 40-year-old couple with a $130,000 net worth.
Yeah.
They own their home, have some savings, but also some debt.
Right.
It's like relatable middle-class struggles, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This group is often trying to juggle competing financial priorities. Saving for retirement, maybe helping their kids with college.
Yeah.
All while dealing with rising costs of living.
It's a constant balancing act.
It is.
And then at the top, we have the upper class, which the blog sets at anything above $1,200,000.
Right.
What's the defining feature of this group?
The key word here is financial freedom.
Okay.
It's not just about luxury, it's about having choices that other groups may lack.
Gotcha.
They can retire early, invest in new ventures, or even support causes they believe in.
Yeah.
All without the constant stress of making ends meet.
The blog mentions diversified investments and potentially owning multiple properties.
Right.
It's a different level of financial security for sure.
Right. And that's important to remember.
Yeah.
Even if those numbers seem unattainable, we're not just gawking at the rich here.
Right.
We're trying to understand the spectrum of financial well-being.
Right.
So you can pinpoint where you are and where you might want to head.
And that brings us to the part that really surprised me.
Okay.
Location, location, location.
Yes.
That $1 million net worth we just talked about might not feel so upper class in a place like New York City.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
Cost of living skews everything.
Seriously.
The blog gives that example of $1 million feeling more middle class.
Right.
In a high-cost area.
Wow.
Suddenly, your fancy net worth doesn't go as far.
So someone could be technically in the upper class bracket, but still feel financially stretched.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to consider the context.
Right.
When we talk about these categories.
Right.
It's not just about the raw number. It's about what that number actually allows you to do in your specific circumstances.
Okay, so we've got this solid foundation of what net worth means, how it relates to those broad economic classes.
Right.
And the huge EE impact of where you live.
Yes.
But now I'm getting to the part I'm really curious about. How do you actually make that number go UP?
Well, the blog outlines some strategies, and I'm happy to break those down.
Okay.
But the fundamental principle is pretty simple.
All right.
You want to increase your assets and decrease your liabilities.
Sounds easy. It's
easier said than done, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But I'm all ears.
Let's dive into those strategies.
Yeah.
What are some of the key takeaways for actually building that net worth?
Let's start with increasing assets.
Okay.
The blog really emphasizes the power of investing.
Okay. But investing can feel super intimidating, especially for someone just starting out.
Right.
It's the first step.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that investing isn't just for the wealthy.
Okay.
There are options for every budget, and the sooner you start,
the
more time your money has to grow.
So even if someone's just scraping by right now, they can still dip their toes into investing?
Absolutely. The blog mentions retirement accounts, like 401ks and IRAs, as great starting points. Often, your employer will even match contributions.
Oh.
Which is basically free money.
Ooh, free money is always good.
Right.
What about other types of investments? The blog talks about stocks and real estate.
Yeah.
But those seem risky.
They can be, but risk and reward often go hand in hand.
Okay.
The key is to educate yourself.
Right.
Start small and diversify your investments.
Okay.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, as they say.
So maybe a little in a retirement account, a little in stocks. Maybe even explore real estate down the line.
Exactly.
Okay.
And remember, you don't need to become a Wall Street whiz overnight.
Right.
There are tons of resources available to help you learn the basics and make informed decisions.
That's really encouraging to hear. Investing always seemed like this big, scary thing.
I know.
But you're making it sound doable.
It absolutely is.
Good.
And the blog highlights another great point. Generating additional income streams.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a full-time job.
Right.
Even a side hustle can make a difference.
Yeah, I've heard of people doing everything from freelance writing to dog walking to boost their income.
Right.
It's about getting creative, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the beauty of this approach is that it not only boosts your income, but also gives you valuable skills and experience that can open up even more opportunities down the road.
So you're boosting your immediate cash flow and potentially setting yourself up for even bigger things in the future.
That's the idea.
Okay.
And finally, the blog stresses the importance of saving aggressively. I know it sounds a bit daunting, but even small, consistent contributions can add up significantly over time, thanks to the magic of compound interest.
Okay, pause for a second.
Sure.
What exactly is compound interest? I hear it thrown around a lot.
Right.
But I'm not sure I fully grasp it.
It's essentially interest earning interest. Imagine you invest $100 and it earns 5% interest. The next year, you're earning interest not just on the original $100, but also on that extra $5 you earned.
Okay.
Over time, this snowball effect can lead to significant growth.
So it's like your money is making babies that are making more money babies.
That's one way to put it.
I like that analogy.
The point is, the earlier you start saving and investing, even small amounts, the more you benefit from this compounding effect.
All right, so we've covered increasing assets.
Yes.
Now for the flip side, reducing liabilities.
Right.
What's the game plan there?
The blog emphasizes tackling high-interest debt as a top priority.
Okay.
Credit card debt can be a real killer. Those high interest rates can quickly eat away at your progress.
I've definitely been there. It feels like you're just treading water.
Right.
No matter how much you pay.
Yeah.
What's the best way to tackle that kind of debt?
There are different strategies like the snowball or avalanche methods, But the key is to create a plan and stick to it.
Right.
Consider consolidating your debt.
Okay.
Or negotiating lower interest rates if possible.
So it's not just about paying it off.
Right.
It's about being strategic about how you pay it off.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And another crucial point the blog makes is avoiding lifestyle inflation.
Okay.
It's tempting to upgrade your lifestyle as your income increases.
Right.
But that can trap you in a cycle of always wanting more.
Oh, I know that trap all too well.
Right.
New phone, bigger apartment, fancier dinners.
Exactly.
It's easy to get caught up in it.
It is. But if you can resist the urge to constantly upgrade,
right,
you can free up more money to put towards your goals.
Yeah.
It's about being mindful of your spending and prioritizing what truly matters to you.
It's about aligning your spending with your values, right? It's not just keeping up with the Joneses.
Exactly.
And finally, the blog advocates for creating a budget.
Yes.
I know it sounds boring.
I know. But it's about taking control of your finances.
Yeah.
Knowing where your money is going. And making conscious choices about how you spend it.
So it's not about deprivation, it's about empowerment.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
A budget is a tool to help you achieve your goals, whether that's paying off debt, buying a house, or traveling the world.
This has been incredibly insightful.
Yeah.
I already feel like I have a better handle on these concepts, and I'm sure our listeners do too.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that building wealth is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There will be ups and downs, but by focusing on these fundamental principles, you can steadily move in the right direction.
So we've covered a lot of ground here in the U.S. context.
Yes.
But I'm curious, how does this whole net worth and class thing play out on a global scale?
Right.
I mean, $1 million is a lot of money.
It is.
But I have a feeling it doesn't hold the same weight everywhere.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The blog touches on this briefly.
Okay.
And it's a fascinating point. What might be considered upper class in one country could be barely scraping by in another.
For example, the blog says a $1.2 million net worth puts you in the upper class here. But in India, that same amount would classify you as ultra rich.
Right.
It's mind-boggling.
It really highlights how relative these categories are.
Wow.
Factors like average income, cost of living, and access to resources all play a role in shaping economic classes around the world.
It's not just comparing apples to oranges. It's like comparing apples to spaceships.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It underscores the importance of understanding the nuances of global economic inequality.
Yeah.
What might be considered a comfortable lifestyle in one country could be seen as extravagant in another.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the complexities of net worth and economic class.
I'm glad.
It's not as simple as just looking at a single number.
I agree.
Right.
It's a topic that often gets oversimplified.
Yeah.
But there's so much depth and nuance to explore.
And it's not just about labels or status.
Right.
It's about understanding the real-life implications of these concepts.
Exactly.
How they impact people's opportunities, their choices, their overall well-being.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's about financial well-being.
Right.
And having the resources and opportunities to live a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like for you.
Absolutely. It really makes you think about what wealth actually means, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just about the number in your bank account.
Yeah.
It's about the life you're able to live because of it.
Exactly. And that brings us back to you.
Okay.
We've explored these different categories, the impact of location, and even some strategies for building your net worth.
Yeah.
But what does financial freedom look like for you?
That's a great question. I think for a lot of people, it's about not having to constantly stress about money.
Yeah.
You know, being able to afford a comfortable life. Maybe take a vacation once in a while. Not panic every time an unexpected bill arrives.
It's about peace of mind, right? Knowing you have a safety net. You're prepared for emergencies. And you're on track for a secure future.
Exactly. But it can be more than that, too.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about having the flexibility to pursue a passion project.
Right.
Start your own business. Or even retire early.
Those are all fantastic examples.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because sometimes people get so caught up in chasing a specific number, $1 million, for example, that they forget to think about what they actually want to be with that wealth.
I'm guilty of that myself.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the keeping up with the Joneses mentality.
Right.
Without really examining what truly matters to you.
It's a common trap.
Yeah.
That's why it's so valuable to take a step back and really envision your ideal life.
Okay.
What would you do If money wasn't an obstacle, how would you spend your time? What impact would you want to make?
Those are big questions.
They are.
But I think you're right. Yeah.
It's about connecting your financial goals to your values and aspirations. Otherwise, it's just an empty pursuit of more, more, more.
Precisely. And I think that's where the blog's advice really shines.
Okay.
It's not about getting rich quick.
Right.
It's about building a sustainable financial foundation that supports the life you want to live.
Speaking of the blog, there's one point they make that I wanted to circle back to.
Okay.
They talk about how these class designations can actually be misleading, even harmful in some ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They can create this false sense of division and judgment, like somehow your worth as a person is tied to your net worth.
Right, and it ignores all the other forms of capital people have.
Yeah.
Social capital, human capital, cultural capital.
Exactly.
Those are valuable too.
They are, and it also ignores the systemic factors that contribute to wealth inequality.
Right.
Things like access to education, healthcare, and job opportunities. Those things play a huge role in shaping someone's financial trajectory. It's not always a level playing field, right?
No, it's not.
Some people face more obstacles and have fewer resources to work with.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So while it's important to understand these financial concepts and take control of your own finances, it's also crucial to be aware of the broader context and advocate for policies that promote economic justice and opportunity for everyone.
That's a powerful message. It's not just about individual responsibility.
Right.
It's about creating a society where everyone has a fair shot at achieving financial well-being.
Exactly. And I think that's a fantastic takeaway for our listeners.
Okay.
Yes, focus on your own financial goals, but also be engaged citizens.
Right.
Advocate for change.
Yeah.
And support organizations that are working to create a more equitable world.
Well said. This has been an incredibly thought-provoking conversation.
It has.
I feel like we've really unpacked the complexities of net worth and economic class. And I hope our listeners feel empowered to take action and start building a more secure financial future for themselves.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you.
It has been with you too.
And I hope our listeners have found it valuable as well.
I have a feeling this is one of those episodes our listeners will want to bookmark and come back to again and again.
Right.
It's packed with so much valuable information.
I agree. It's a topic that's relevant to everyone.
Right.
Regardless of their current financial situation.
So true. Well, before we wrap up this deep dive, I'd love to leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question to ponder.
Okay.
It's something the blog touched on briefly.
Right.
But I think it's worth exploring a bit further.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Okay, here it is.
Right.
What would you do with greater financial freedom, even if it's not about reaching upper-class status?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
It really gets to the heart of why we're talking about net worth and wealth building in the first place. It's not just about accumulating money for the sake of it.
Right.
It's about what that money allows you to do.
Exactly. It's about the possibilities, the opportunities, the choices that open up when you have a solid financial foundation.
Imagine having the freedom to pursue your passions, to travel the world, to spend more time with loved ones, to give back to your community.
Yeah.
Those are the things that truly enrich our lives.
And those things are within reach for anyone, regardless of their starting point.
Absolutely.
It's about setting goals.
Yeah.
Making a plan and taking consistent action.
Absolutely. Even small steps can lead to significant progress over time.
Well said. I hope this deep dive has inspired our listeners to start thinking about their own financial goals and to take those first steps towards achieving them.
I do too.
Awesome.
Remember, financial well-being is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
It's about making choices that align with your values and priorities.
Yeah.
And creating a life that feels abundant and fulfilling.
Beautifully said. And on that note, I want to thank you, dear listener, for joining us on this exploration of net worth and economic class.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel empowered to take control of your financial future.
It's been a pleasure sharing this deep dive with you.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep